Hi crafters, welcome back to another segment of KISS, Keep It Simple Sylvia. This is the second Friday in July and our subject for this month is odds and ends. And I got a real cute, simple little project today. We're going to be working with these things. Everybody knows what these are. These are toilet tissue rolls. Don't throw them out. Aside from kids making all the cute little objects that kids like to make out of them, we as adults get to use these too, and we can make some really quick and simple little items out of this. The number one thing that we want to do is obviously we want to decorate it so it doesn't look like a toilet tissue roll. There's several different ways that you can do this. You can paint it, you could ink it, you could put tiny little stamps on it, or you could cover it in designer paper or just regular cardstock. Lots of different ways that you can get these presentable. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a couple different things that you can make out of these things. Number one, the first thing that we're going to make is a like a little pillow box. You know, those little pillow boxes that you can, they have boards that cut them and you fold them, or there's Cricut cartridges that will do the same thing, and I'm sure there's other cartridges that will do the same thing. But you can do that with the toilet tissue. What we want to do first of all is we want to get this covered. And this is a great way to use up some of your scraps. So what I'm going to do is, and if you have any of these pads, these are, you know, like, you know, just the little 5.5 by 4 something size sheets. And I'm just going to take one out of this. I'm going to use it to cover. Now what I found out is the toilet tissue sizes are all different. You'd like to think that they're all the same, but they're not. Some have a bigger circumference around here, which means a larger diameter, and some are smaller. You can also use your paper towel tubes and cut them down. So we're going to just get this covered. And you can see by just holding this up that I have a little extra over on the end here. So a simple way to do this is just, let's just fold it and then we can trim it down and not even have to worry about measuring. This is just so simple. There's just no need to get out all the stuff that we usually have and try to measure things. It's just not worth it as far as I'm concerned. When the simple little paper folding will get it done. And we'll just crease that. If you wanted to, you could measure it. And you could get these exact. I kind of like the torn look of the paper anyways. Particularly on this project. Okay, so now we've got the height. Now we have to figure out how long we're going to need it. So I'm just going to just roll this up. Give myself a slight overlap, not a whole lot, just a slight. In fact, I could even give that much on this roll here without even cutting it down. Now, if you had a regular scrap of paper that was longer than this, make sure you give yourself an overlap. Don't, you know, try to butt the ends up here. Simple way to do that is just get this, find out where it overlaps, where you want to have the overlap, and just give yourself a crease. And then undo it. Line up your edges. And nice big creases here. And then just tear it up. Okay, now we got a piece of paper that's going to cover our toilet tissue roll. Okay, so now we need to glue it down. I found that a liquid glue works better with this because it gives you some slippage, so you can slide it around the tube and, you know, manipulate it better around the tube than if you use tape runners. Just something that allows you just a little slippage on it. And then don't forget to put some paper down. And I'll take my fake credit card. Hang on to those things. Those things are great. They work great for spreading paint, for spreading glue. Now don't throw those things away. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this to spread this. Make sure you get your edges real good, because those are going to be the first things that are going to want to come up. And by putting it on a piece of paper like this, you don't care if the glue goes all over the place, and then you can remove the paper and you got a nice clean work surface to keep working on. Okay, now just kind of line up the edges. And like I said, it's nice if you use the liquid one, so you can slip it or let it slide a little bit around. And then just let this dry. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And I've got a couple that I've already covered. This one, we're going to make one of those little pillow ones. And all you do is you just take the tube, and you see how I've kind of got this scrunched? You know, I just took a tube like this and scrunched it down. Scrunch it, and then just kind of work these edges down. Work the edges down. Do the same thing on the other side. How cute is that? Now you've got yourself your own little pillow box. You can put whatever you want in here. You can put candy in here, money, a credit card, one of those debit cards, jewelry, anything that you want to, that you'd be using a regular pillow box for. And we just made this out of toilet tissue roll. Nice way to recycle. You can decorate this, put a ribbon around it, put a tag on it. Yeah, isn't that cute? I just love the way that looks. Okay, now this one, we're going to make a different kind of box like that. Now all we're going to do is we're just going to squeeze this end down. And we're going to staple it. Tiny Tatcher works just fine. Okay, now you squeeze it this way. The opposite, 90-degree opposite. And now you've got another little gift box. You can put candies, treats in. Looks like a fortune cookie. Isn't that sweet? Now, don't seal the top up here. Don't staple it unless you want to make them tear into it. The gift giver tear into it. Now, you could put ribbon on the bottom of here to, you know, to camouflage the staples. Ribbon up on the top here with some tags. And you got another cute little gift box. Isn't that just sweet? I love these, and I love the fact that you're recycling toilet tissue rolls. No longer do the kids get to play with them. We get to play with them now, too. Okay, and then the last item that I want to show you that we could, there's tons that you could make out of them, is we're going to make a little booklet. How cute is that going to be? Okay, in order to make this little booklet, what we need to do is we need to cut the tube here. I'm going to let the seam back here be where I would be binding, because I'm going to cover it with washi tape and make it a thicker binding. So with that, I'm just going to kind of scrunch the tube down so I know where my center points are. A little bit. And then I'm just going to cut. Now, if you had scissors that put a decorative edge on, you could do that. You could do that with this. Now we have the beginning of a little booklet. Now what we need to do is we need to make like a spine area, because we're going to put some signatures in here. So I'm just going to kind of like guess the size of my thumbnail, the thickness of my thumbnail. And then I'm going to crease this down, give myself a good crease. Get my bone folder, give myself some good crease here. And then do the same over here on this side. Crease it down. These are pretty thick little toilet tissues. Okay. And then kind of roll this back a little bit, straighten this out a little bit. Okay, now what I've done is I've given myself a spine. Now, I might have to adjust this because maybe I probably won't put that many signatures in it. And this is a good way to use up all that scrap paper again. So here I've got some scraps. And they're okay. They're about the size of this. If I wanted to, I could cut these down. But what I need to do is I need to see how big the pages are going to be on the inside here. So let's kind of measure and see about to here. I'm going to fold. Let's see if that gives me a little page. Yeah, it does. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold up several of these, and in each signature I'm probably going to put three of these folded pieces of paper, and then we're going to do a simple binding technique. And then I'll just cut this. Once again, if you had the scissors that make a decorative edge, that'd be kind of cute. Let's see if this will be another one. It looks like maybe I can get two of them out of this strip that I've got here. It's kind of cool. And don't forget, they can be, you can put anything on the inside of this. Tags, if you have some tags that you've made up that you're not using, you can fold them up and stick them in here. Yeah, see, that works. Okay, so then I'm just going to just use that as a guide and just fold it in half, my paper in half, and then fold them in half again. I'll probably rip them. I like the ripped edge look better. And fold it in half. Little tags were real cute. You can use a book page. You can just whatever odds and ends you have. Anything that you want to put in here. Little doilies are cute too. Okay, then I'm going to mix up the pieces here. Get another one. And fold these up here. And once again, I'm just trying to keep it simple. I'm not measuring anything. And nice thing about these is we don't have to worry about making the edges of the paper exact. And that's pretty paper. I really like this paper. I'm just using up our scraps. Okay, I'm going to pause this while I continue to do this. You get the idea, and I'll be back when I've got it done. Okay, I've got all the little signatures put together, And what I ended up doing was rounding the corners of them. And I wanted to show you how cute tags look. This is a tag that I had made, and I just cut it down. And we're going to use that as part of one of the pages in the little booklet here. Here's another one that I did. It's going to be, and you can stagger these. They can be top, bottom, center, however you want them. And here's another one. I thought, and I'm not careful. I mean, you can, the edges of this booklet don't have to be exact, okay? Let me round the corners on this little one. And I think we're going to get 3 signatures. We might be able to get 4, but I'm going to try with 3. We're just going to do a very simple binding little technique. What I've got here is a foam pad that some brads came on. And it's real nice and thick, so I just use that so I can use my pokey tool to poke down into as I make holes in these things for binding. I think I'm going to keep that one in the center. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a center hole. You can see I'm not measuring, I'm just guessing. Because this is, and then I'm going to do one up here. So I can get the top of that tag. I'm going to do another one down here. We're going to make 3 holes. They're not measured. They're not probably evenly spaced, but that's okay. I don't care. I think that's the beauty of these little booklets is because they aren't perfect. I love things asymmetrical anyways. Just that kind of a person. Okay, so I'm going to do that to each one of the signatures. And you see I'm not even measuring or trying to measure them up with the ones that I just made. I don't care if these pages are staggered or not, it doesn't bother me. Just make sure that your holes are nice and big. What I'm going to use for binding is just some twine. They have actually binding string, thread, whatever you want to call it out there. But this is just a simple little booklet. It's not a journal. So I'm just going to just use some twine. Actually, I'm using some hemp twine. It's that twine that we used in one of the earlier segments of KISS when I was showing you all sorts of good things that you could do with twine. So I'm just going to bind with that. The trick is finding a needle that has a big enough eye that lets you get the twine through it. Okay, so I've got all my holes made. Gonna sort of line this up in here. I'm not too worried about it being real perfect, just so I can get some holes punched. Now the first thing that you want to do with one of your signatures is on that very first fold that we made is just slightly off of it, just slightly inside on the binding. You don't want to do it actually on that, but you just want to do it inside of that. So when it folds, and just poke a hole in there. Make it nice and big. Okay, now that I've got that poked, I'm going to do the other hole that I made. Make sure I've got my, no, everything's not, oh well, that's good enough. See, nothing has to be exact. Okay, now just kind of lay it down and line up. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Here's the first hole we made. See that first hole right? I'm going to line up that center hole. I'm just going to poke another one. You could get more precise and you could get out your pencils and mark this. Might do that for the next ones, but for this one, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I got those 2 holes made. Now I have to make this 3rd hole. And I'm just going to poke it in there. Okay. Now I got my needle with the twine already in it. And what you do with this is you start from the outside and you go through the center. Okay, I'm going to pull up. I'm going to leave, now make sure you leave some on the back side here so we can tie everything together. I'm going to leave some back there. Okay, now you can either go through the top holes or you can go through the bottom holes. It's your choice, whatever you want to do on this. I'm going to go through the top holes. One thing too you might want to do is on the inside of this tissue, you might want to add some papers there too, or paint it. I think it'd be kind of cute if you painted it with like speckle paint or something. I think that'd look real cute. Okay, so I'm going to pull these through again. Okay, I got that. Pull them down, pull it down. Now we're going to go all the way up to the top hole. That seems to be the toughest one because it's so thick. Okay. And go through the hole on all the other signatures. Kind of pull them tight. And now go back through that center hole. Okay, we got our first signature in place. How cute is this? Okay, now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie this off. Make one of those secure knots where you loop it twice through the hole. And I'm going to leave this on. Okay, then I'm just going to finish up with doing the exact same thing for all the other little signatures, okay? Okay, so now we've got this signature in place and we've got it tied off. And when you tie it off, make sure that you have the string on one side of your string, and then when you come back through, have it on the other side. So you actually, when you're tying, this center strip of string right here is through both of the ends, okay? Now we're going to go for the second signature, and this is where it's easier if you actually mark it, if you use a pencil and mark it. You want to lay your signature on top of the other one, find the holes, and mark with a pencil. And then use your pokey tool and poke through them and make them nice and big. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the first one. We're going to go in the center. Pull that up. Make sure nothing's hanging on the other side. Okay. In the center here. And one of the things too that you want to make sure you do when you bind is you kind of want your holes staggered. You don't want your holes to be exactly in the same spot. Like, see, this is the hole for the first signature that we put in, and this is the hole for the second one. Because if you had them all in the same spot, it would weaken your binding. So you want to make sure you're staggered. That's why I don't bother measuring when I start poking holes, because I know I'm never going to get them in the exact same spot. And you want to have them as staggered as possible. Through the center hole on this group of signatures. Catch that little taggy. Pull it down. Make sure it's facing the way I want it to face. Let's get it in there. And once again, go through either the top or the bottom set of holes. Doesn't matter, because you saw how we're binding this. And just pull through. Go all the way up to the top hole. Okay, got that. Okay, now we got our second signature in place. Make sure you pull nice and secure. Not too much, because you don't want to rip it. And go back down through that center hole. And pull it through. Here it comes. I'll pull my loose end here. Get that out. Sometimes it's easier when you only have one strand to pull. Okay. Now we've got that one. I'm just going to make sure that my string now is on the other side. I'm getting ready for the next signature. Okay, so we got that one in place. Now I'm going to take the next signature and I'm going to do the exact same thing as far as the measuring goes. I'm going to put this in here and find my holes. And you kind of want to, you don't want to hold real tight when you're, you know, like how you're pushing all the signatures down, because you want to be able to have them move freely, but you still want to keep them kind of tight, okay? So I'm going to line up my holes, and then I'm just going to mark with a pencil. Okay. Now once again, they're staggered. This one lines up. The center unfortunately lines up a little bit, but that's okay. These other ones are kind of staggered. And it looks like we're going to have room for another signature, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'll poke the holes. Make sure I'm not poking onto the thread because I don't want to weaken the thread in any way. Make sure I have nice big holes. And then we'll just start the process all over again. So you get the idea of what we're doing. So I'm going to pause this until I get this done then, okay? Okay, I was able to add a fourth signature in this. And we're ready just now to tie everything off. All you do is just tie it together back here. There's a bunch of, you know, I mean, you could put ribbon on here. You could put more twine. Lots of different ways you could finish off the binding here. Giving myself one of those non-slip knots. There you go. Okay, so now we have our little book. How cute is this? Obviously, I think you'd want to do something to the inside. Let's go the way that we're supposed to open it. What I did too is I kind of curved the outer edge just with regular scissors. I'm not using any of the fancy cut. So here we go. We got this cute little booklet. We got all these little pages in our signatures. The nice thing about using double-sided leftover paper is you really don't have to decorate it. It's pretty cute by itself. Okay, so now you say to yourself, what am I going to use something like this for? There's lots of things you could use this for. You could use this, you know, those little thumbprint pictures that you can print out. They're like 1 inch by 1 inch or 2 inch by 2 inch. You could do that, put that in here, let this be a little brag book. You could use this for an address book. I know most people don't use address books anymore because we have our cell phones, but nothing says you have to write it this way. You could always flip it up this way, and this could be the way that you write in here. You could attach little strips of Post-it paper and just put some Post-it paper on here so you could write on it. Use it as a little journal. I like the idea of putting those cute little 1-by-1 photos in it and just letting it be a little brag book. How cute is this? Look at all these great pages in here. So many different pages in this little book. So cute. Look at that. I love the way the tags look in it. It just adds some different dimension to the pages. I think it's so cute. And then finish this off. And then you could tie this up with some twine. You could punch a hole in here. Wrap some twine, do some twine on it. Wrap twine all the way around. Punch a hole in here. And have enough sticking over so you could tie it together. You can always bind it with a rubber band. Or some other kind of elastic. Pretty ribbon. We got a cute little, this would fit in a pocketbook, a purse with no problem. And how cute is that? Cute little brag book, cute little journal. I love it. Okay, there you go, crafters. 3 different things that you can do out of toilet tissue holders. This cute little box. I love this. I love the shape of it. It's like a little fortune cookie. And then the pillow one. There we go. 3 cute little items. Inexpensive. Recycling. Everything that we used here was recycled, the toilet tissue, and we used up scraps of paper. Everything is made out of scraps. How cute is all this? Wow. Okay, crafters, I hope you liked today's segment of KISS. Keep it simple, Sylvia. And I hope that you'll be able to join me again next Friday for another segment of KISS. Keep it simple, Sylvia. Bye for now, crafters.